So just a couple of little questions. Have you anybody done dams before, or yep? How far?
Me?
Yes.
I've done the three times. So I'm doing the 5 dams.
Oh wow!
But
Okay.
I don't eat properly, so I'm hoping.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. All right. So essentially, nutrition is very important for any kind of event like this. So not just during the event itself, you need to practice beforehand. So essentially, it's a combination of fluid, carbs, which is sugar, and electrolytes. So you can get that in lots of different ways. So the good thing about the gel, and the SiS gels in particular, is they're what we call isotonic. So it's in a really easily absorbable format. So basically you don't need to drink water with these. You can take the top off and rip it down. So a lot more liquidy than some of the other stuff on the product. So these you can either get just as a gel where it's carbs. We have them with caffeine as well. So there's either 75 milligrams or 150 milligrams. The caffeine gel, again, it's something you should try before just waiting for the event. And generally with caffeine, you probably have that the last third. That just gives you the little extra boost as well. You can get gels with electrolyte as well. So that's got the electrolyte stuff is the salts that you might need. We have electrolyte tabs. So these don't have sugar. So these are just electrolyte. There is a caffeine version of that as well. And then there's all the different bars. So we've got these bars which we've had for a while. They come in 4 different flavors. So again, it's just something that you another form of carbs. So I think it's like 26 grams of carb in that. The general recommendation is 30 to 60 grams of carb per hour. For the longer event, SiS, we have got some nutrition plans on the web. It's a little bit more than that, and that's because you need to have a bit more of a build up because you're going a bit further. I think that's 26 grams of carb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you need two of those.
Yeah, 1 or 2. Yeah, 30 to 60 grams an hour. And this is a brand new one that we've got called the Energy Bakes. This is a lot softer, so it's kind of like more of a cookie with like a little layer of gel sort of jam in the middle. So it really, everybody's really different. Like I personally prefer to have my water bottle, I have electrolytes, and then I'll eat something. Some people don't like eating at all, so they'll just have the gels. Your stomach might not feel like having food. So the other important thing is to make sure that you don't just wait till the event. So it's working out what works best for you in terms of whether you like to eat or just have the gels, how much water, how much electrolyte. If you want to try the caffeine, again, don't wait for the day. Have one on one of your training rides and see what it does. It might work for you, it might not. Some people find, especially the 150 milligrams, that's like 2 shots of coffee, so that's quite a lot. So, what else? We also have, in terms of training afterwards, there's protein. Protein's more for recovery. So we do have protein bars, and you can buy protein drinks that you have afterwards. So the best time to have them is probably within the 20 to 30 minutes of finishing. That's when your body's in its best kind of state to absorb protein to help with recovery. So that also helps with not being so sore. What else? Any questions?
So what about things like dates and dried apricots?
Yeah, they're fine.
As opposed to some of the bars.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with the banana, nothing wrong with taking dates, even some of the commercially available muesli bars are good. I guess with these guys they've more kind of worked out, it's a precise amount, but yeah, certainly nothing wrong with taking other food as well.
The body process the gel versus the bar quicker or slower?
Much more easily. This basically, as soon as it's in your gut, your body starts absorbing it. Whereas this, you need to digest it. You can actually have too much. That's the other thing. It's not that, if you're not used to taking gels or eating, and all of a sudden you're doing a big event, you start having lots. Because basically, with any kind of sugar, your stomach needs fluid to absorb it. So if you have too much, all the fluid goes from your muscles to your gut to try and process that. And you can actually, it's the same as feeling like you're bonking, like you haven't had enough. So you can make that mistake, you can have too much sugar. So the trick is to try it before the event. The other mistake some people make is to wait till you feel hungry or a bit thirsty. So really within the first half an hour to hour you should have eaten or had something, even if you don't feel like it. And the other benefit of training beforehand is your body does get more efficient at using the available energy sources that you put in. So if you're used to riding without nothing, you can do that, but you're actually doing yourself detriment because you're actually taking energy source from your muscles. Where this stuff's really readily available if you have it regularly.
So if you're doing a 60k ride as a training,
yeah,
so you're saying you probably have a couple of those during that
yeah,
ride,
wouldn't
just
hurt.
to get
Yeah,
used to it.
yeah.
I don't tend to have them unless I'm doing more than, like closer to 100 I'll start to take the gels.
Yeah.
And
So you can do that, but it's better for your body to actually have this to use as an energy source rather than just using it from your
even if you have a big breakfast.
even if you've had breakfast. Yeah.
So you're
And if
saying
you talk to
offshore,
Brad, like with his little young athletes that, there's not much to them, they actually have to train at having more than they think you end up being more efficient. It's better for your body. You work at a better rate if you've got available energy source rather than taking it from, we've all done it. You can go and ride for 2 hours and not have anything and it's fine, but you're actually better off.
But I've had the fuel as breakfast before the ride.
Yeah.
So you're thinking it's roughly every half an hour you're taking the gel, roughly, or is it?
The recommendation is 30 to 60 grams, so
Okay.
depending on your body weight.
Yeah.
Some people, I had a gentleman here before that he said he had a high metabolism, he just has 2 or 3 and has a big breakfast. So
Also, the people say so if you have, it's sort of a high and then it's a big drop off on the other side. So is that true, or do you need to just keep taking until the end of your
see,
event?
that's where if you can be a bit more regular, and that big high you can get is if you then cram and you're feeling hungry and you've actually just gobbled it all down. Yeah. And that's the other thing about having it regularly is that there's a consistent amount available to use rather than just all of a sudden you just take a big amount.
So would you have the whole one for the first half an hour, or do you just have half of it? at the same
I
time?
personally have it in one go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know how much is available on the course?
I'm actually not sure, to be honest. Glenn would be the best person to ask for that. I know we've got gels available, and I think they've got some the Go Energy, which is in the tubs as well.
What do you recommend the night before?
Just a normal, healthy dinner. So you need some carbs, some protein. Don't go crazy. Good breakfast, so oats or porridge. Nothing wrong with eggs on toast as well. It wouldn't hurt going to an event to have a water bottle with some electrolytes or with some carb drink in it as well, just to sip. Because we generally wake up dehydrated and go to, we generally wake up dehydrated because you spent all night and then you're going to an event, so it doesn't hurt to drink on the way.
Do you know if there's fueling stations on that? Well, I'm doing the 3 downs, but is there places that you can get refills for your water or something?
Yeah.
And what about fueling?
Yeah, they'll have gels and they'll have water available as well. Yeah.
So breakfast.
Yep.
Is that like an hour? I never have breakfast. And I know
Yes.
I should.
You should, yeah.
But I can't. And especially an hour before when you've got to be up in the hills to start.
Yeah. I know you don't feel like it, but you're better off having breakfast. And if you can't stomach a breakfast, have a bar or banana, like a proper breakfast.
And how far actually just down for 2 days? Or something like like regularly just sipping.
Yeah, I mean you should try and stay hydrated all the time.
Yeah.
So you don't, if you're not used to drinking lots and then you kind of cram it, you might find that because you're not used to it, you're not going to the toilet a lot. So but probably at least 2 or 3 days before, make sure you're not dehydrated.
Yeah.
Would be probably more sound advice. Any questions?
In this particular ride with the tablets,
Yep.
Normally if I'm riding, I'll have one that's water and one with one of those in.
Yep.
Would you just have both in electrolyte in it?
Totally up to you. Yeah. And if you're someone that sweats a lot, maybe 2 electrolyte would be good. If you don't feel that, and you can often tell if you do an event and it's really hot, you get that like white salty layer on your nicks. You might need a bit more. I personally have 2 with electrolyte, but I know a lot of people I ride with who have 1 electrolyte, 1 just water. So that's why, again, it's important to try stuff before the event.
It's quite difficult to get bars, like decent bars.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't seen those ones before. So that why do everyone's just decided that they're the best ones?
You know, to be honest, a lot of the bike shops, there are bike shops that stock a lot of this, and most of them have access to it, but it's a hard product for them to stock if they don't get regular customers because they go out of date. Like these, for example, you're more than welcome to try one. These are out of date, best by date. Or you can buy them online. So it is one of those items where most shops have access to it, but if they don't have customers coming in regularly buying it, they tend not to stock it.
Mind you, I never eat them, and we do long bike trips around the world, and I was sitting there one time and I pulled this squash thing out of my packet.
Yeah.
Well, it's time I ate it, and it was 5 years out of date.
Yeah.
So I said to people, I said, well, if I drop dead, you know why? It was fine.
To be honest, they put a week before I had an argument with a shop that talked about a flavour that I'd never had selling this, and then the next time I went in, it was grapefruit and it was 4 years old and it was fine. So if they're not good, you can tell they crystallise. They go yucky. Or if you open it and it's mouldy, it's obviously no good. But they have to put a best by date on it. So
So I've never seen that. Is it got? I've never seen that one before. So is that
this one's brand new.
Oh,
So this has
okay.
only been out like
Because there's lots of protein bars, but it's hard to get the carbo bars. Good
yeah, I mean,
carbo
you see a lot of protein bars around because all the people that are in the gyms and stuff, protein, but protein more for cycling is more afterwards. So it helps with recovery. And there are, over periods of time, there are companies that have tried protein in a drink format, but it's really hard to get it to dissolve, and it goes off really quickly because there has been some science done where having protein in a soluble form actually helps while you're riding, but it's just very hard to manufacture. So generally the protein's good for recovery. Because when you're exercising, you do a little bit of tissue damage, and the protein helps with repairing the tissue damage and just general recovery. So most of this stuff is just during and before. So essentially you need fluids, carbs, which is sugar, and salt, which is the electrolyte. So it's working out what combination works best for you.
So you always have the same sort of meal before an event, like the night time dinner before, like.
Don't always have the same. I tend to have the same breakfast. Like I'm a porridge girl. I'll have oats with a little bit of yogurt and some fruit on it. Because again, these are essentially oats.
Yeah.
So oats is a good sustainable source of energy with a little bit of protein in it. Protein helps you don't get so hungry with a bit of protein. But
I used to know in former life I used to have Friday nights, just carb up, mum used to make bolognese or fettuccine, and then it took me 15 minutes into the game before I felt like I sort of like it was like carb overload almost.
Yeah.
Now I think some of the science has changed, it's more protein based at night. But
yeah, it's still definitely, and like the days where you do the big carbo loading, they've actually gone back on that a bit because what happens is your big carbs, you still need all the fluid to digest that, and you often, it kind of does a little bit of the opposite. So they've changed the science a little bit on that. So it's really just about healthy eating. So yes, you need carbs, you still need a bit of protein. Don't overeat. Make sure you're hydrated.
Thank you.